Special education has changed so much over time. Before the 1970s, special education students were not given the opportunities that they're given now. They didn't have many opportunities at all. They didn't really have the opportunity to be taught publicly and did not have the rights or educational opportunities as students do now. Most parents back then had to try and educate their students at home the best that they could. Students with special needs between 1960s and 1970s, there was a lot that remained unserved, even by their parents, because they didn't quite know how, so they didn't get served. Things began to slowly improve after the 1970s, after a few court cases and protests and stands that were made throughout the years. In 1954, there was a case called the Brown versus Board of Education. This allows parents to start speaking up and advocating for their students or their children. And students with special needs, it really helped make changes and began to develop and have more people come up and have the strength to speak up. And they had a case in 1965, the ESEA, and this began to develop educational programs for students with special needs. It helped allow more public education for special education students. In 1971, they began public funding to help further education and started to believe that students with disabilities needed more educational opportunities, and they deserved to have more educational opportunities. In 1975, the education of all handicapped children was presented, and this was to make sure that services were provided to students who needed them. Students with special education needs also started to talk about getting federal funds at this time. Parents were given federal funding in order to provide their child with academic help. In 1990, they began to ban discrimination against people who had disabilities, whether it was at school, work, just in public. They decided to help special education students have the same rights and opportunities as all the other kids around them, as well as adult people around them as well. This helped with the Americans with Disabilities Act, helped with that. The Individual with Disabilities Education Act in 1997 helped provide transition services from high school to adult, which you see frequently now. This carried over all these years to help with daily living, social skills, to help get them ready to live their life on their own outside of school. The amendment to IDEA Act was put into place in 2004. This kind of links with the No Child Left Behind Act. This helps have equal, fair, and significant opportunities for each special education student to help them have a good, high-quality education. There are a few resources to help educators stay up to date on special education laws. Visiting the Special Education Rules and Regulations tab on the Texas Education Agency website is very helpful. There are also special education law conferences that you can visit. There's also subscriptions for special education newsletters, and frequently meeting with your administration or district, anybody in your district, other special education teachers, administrators, and district reps. All of these people, meeting with them frequently to make sure that there hasn't been any changes or things added to the special education laws, so that you know that you are providing the best care for SPED students and making sure that they are getting the education that they deserve. As a SPED teacher, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are up to date on these laws. And I hope these resources help you do so.